Alright, how's it going, guys? Michael, work hard, play harder here. So we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to clean carburetors. These are off an MXZ 380 snowmobile, but it doesn't really matter. All carburetors are basically the same, and same process for all of them. So I'm going to get started. I'll set you guys up so you can see it, and I will try and go over the process as I'm doing it. Alright, so first thing, you don't want to get mixed up with your carburetors. So know which one is which, came off which side, put the other one to the side for now. All you want to do is work with one. You don't want to get mixed up, start mixing parts around. Just leave it alone, do one at a time. So what you're going to do first with your carburetor, this is called the bowl. You need to take your bowl off. There's going to be 4 screws here, 1, 2, 3, 4, all Phillips screws. Pretty much all the time on every carburetor, these will be Phillips screws. You do want to push on the screwdriver pretty hard, put a lot of pressure when you push down so you're not stripping those screws out, because they can be pretty tight, especially after they've been sitting. They can be very tight. Wow. Alright, I guess it's time to show you guys a trick. Take something, you got something heavy, I'm just going to use a little wrench. Just give your screwdriver a little tap on top with your screwdriver in the hole. Okay, now sometimes that little vibration will break it free. Yep, comes right out now. Just leave all your parts in one area so they don't get lost. Carburetor pieces love to run away for some reason. And 4. And now at this point, so there might be a little gas left in here, but not too much. See that? So guys, I don't know if you can tell, but this carb isn't terrible, but it's not great. It's got a little bit of junk in it. We're gonna pull the jets out and see how it goes. Okay, so inside your carburetor, well, first your bowl here, you'll look, is there anything down on the bottom? Usually that's where you'll have a little bit of crud, especially if it's been sitting. You want to clean that out, get carb clean, scrape that hole inside, get little brushes or wire brushes, whatever you need to do. Get this whole thing perfectly clean in there. Make sure you don't mess this gasket up. I leave it alone. I leave it right on the bowl or the carb, wherever it is. If it doesn't come off without me telling it to, or without me trying, I leave it alone. Okay, for the jets, so you got, this is your float. Usually on most carburetors, these little floats here are going to be attached to this piece. Alright, so when the gas comes in, so this is going down, when the gas comes in, the float goes up and it'll shut the valve so no more gas comes in. When it needs more gas and the float goes down, it'll send more gas in, the gas will raise the float back up, and it'll shut the valve again. Your little valve that shuts is right here. So to get that out, you pull this little pin here, it'll slide right out from either side, and you pull that out, and then you can pull your float right off, and you can pull that needle out. But if you're getting good fuel flow to your carburetor, then that's usually not going to be your issue. It's going to be in one of these jets here. So you got a jet right here, your main jet, and then you got your pilot jet here. So 9 times out of 10, there'll be a slot for a flathead screwdriver in both jets. This time, this one doesn't have one in the main jet, but that's okay. I just like to use the little tiny adjustable wrench because they're always going to be different sizes. Loosen that one up, pull it out. Down here, loosen that other jet up with a flathead screwdriver. Usually you need a pretty skinny one to get in these holes. Sometimes you'll look down the hole, you won't even see one. Stick your screwdriver in there, turn it, you'll feel it. Pull it out, turn it upside down, get it out, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I'm going to use my little tiny adjustable. Tighten it up on that little jet. Loosen that right up. Okay. Okay, there's your little main jet. Alright. wash this, make sure there's no gunk and stuff in it, but you don't really have to worry much else about that. Put that off to the side, put it with the other screws. Okay, look down in there. Can we see straight through that hole? Any obstructions? No, it looks pretty decent, really. It doesn't look bad at all. And then this main jet usually doesn't clog, because if you see, it's just one big hole going straight through. Sort of hard to see, I'm sure, but. All right, a little tiny screwdriver, stick that in there, turn it till it locks in, turn that jet. Now the jet's not gonna come all the way out. You'll feel it loosen, all right? You're gonna have to turn your carburetor upside down, keep your hand under it, and the jet will fall out. So now you guys will see what I'm saying about this little tiny jet. So, it's got these little tiny holes in it for the fuel to come out. Now those love to clog. As well as your main, you got the hole going straight through. But those little tiny holes just love to clog up. You get one little tiny piece of dirt or something in there. Alright, so once you get both those jets out, get your carb cleaner, spray it through there, make sure you spray it through every hole, make sure these things are just spotless, okay? Then you're going to want to make sure this thing is all spotless too. Clean this out, carb clean everything. Get this thing perfectly clean. Like I was talking about with this. You can even pull that needle out a little bit and spray some in there. Just make sure this thing is spotless. Air and fuel mixture screw right here. I usually won't mess with it. Sometimes it can be the problem, but 9 times out of 10 it's not. And if it is the problem, it's usually going to be the O-rings or something on it. So without ordering a rebuild kit with the newer O-rings and stuff, it's not worth taking it out anyways because you're not going to be fixing it. So if you have a rebuild kit, pull that out, replace the spring, the O-rings and everything, and you'll be good to go. But as far as my situation, I'm not messing with it. There's no point. To make sure the fuel comes through this, the best thing you can do is just blow on your fuel outlet. So you're going to want to blow on it with this pushing down like that, which would actually be up if your car was flipped over, pushing down, so that's staying full of fuel, float's pushing up. Make sure it doesn't go through. If you're able to blow air through that, that means it's getting fuel, too much fuel even when it's full, when it doesn't need it. So that's bad and it'll overflow fuel. Then you want to pull it up so that valve is open and you want to make sure you can blow through. If you can't blow through, there's either a blockage in this line or this valve isn't releasing. In our case, everything's working fine, so we are good. I'm going to spray this thing down with carb cleaner, spray every little hole you see. Make sure the fluid comes out of the next hole where it should. Just spray everything down, get it completely clean, but those jets are your main thing. If those are clean, you're going to be good after you get all these little other holes clean. And then we can go back to reassembly, and it's going to be exactly the same on the next carburetor. So I won't show you that, but I will show you reassembly really quick. Hey guys, that looks good. A little jet, we already cleaned that. Just going to make sure, my dirty fingers. And you want to look, you want to hold this little jet up to the light. Make sure you can see light through every little one of those holes. And then, once again, all the way straight down the middle. If you can't, get a little piece of copper wire, or take some stranded wire, strip it, take a little piece of that wire, and stick it in there and get everything out. That's going to be one of the only ways. Welding wire will work if the jet's big enough. And it's a lot stronger than the copper too, so you can actually shove stuff through. So reinstall, little jet, just drop it in the hole, carry a little screwdriver again, and just tighten her up. Bigger jet. Screw it back in. Hand screw it in the whole way till it's snug. These brass fittings don't need much. You snug them by hand and just give it a little bit. Boop, snug. That's it. You don't need to crank them tight. Brass seal's really good and you don't want to strip it. Alright, and that's it guys. We're going to put the bowl back on. So take our bowl. You want to make sure everything lines up good. This one doesn't really have anything to line up, so just know which one's your front and your back. You'll be able to tell just looking at the shape. Drop that through. Throw our screws back in the four corners. Tighten those up. I like to tighten one corner and then the opposite corner, just so the gasket seals nicely. You don't want to put it all back together and have a fuel leak. Good, on to the next carburetor. Same process, and then we'll go to reinstalling on the machine. All right. Thanks guys, we'll see you when we put it back on the machine. Alright, not sure if anybody noticed my mistake, but most carburetors don't have these. I noticed I had an extra part lying around. Yeah, we missed a piece. So, go back in there, take the bowl back off, put this on underneath our main jet, and then we'll be done. And on to the next carburetor. Just wanted to make sure you guys didn't miss that key part like I did.